Hello bookworms! Today I'm going to be talking about my 12 most anticipated books that are releasing in the first half of 2024. So instead of making a list at the beginning of the year for my most anticipated for the entire year of 2024, I like to break it up into two lists. So the first list is the books I'm looking forward to from January until June. And then in June, I'll make a second part of this list and I'll talk about the books that I'm looking forward to that are coming out from July through December. A lot of books tend to get announced later in the year. So books that are coming out in the fall, like we might not even know when something amazing could be coming out, and I would hate to leave it off of my list. So that's why I like to break it down into two lists. One caveat that I have for my list, because it's something that I ran into already, is that if there's an author that I really love that's coming out with two books, I only include one of the two books on my list. That could change in the future, but that's the rule that I've been going by for a couple of years now, and it seems to work for me. In addition to these top 12, I'm going to mention a couple of like honorable mentions just at the end. And then also just want to let you know that these are the dates that are currently listed as the publication dates, but obviously those are subject to change. You never know, the publisher could switch things up on us. As of filming, these are the dates that these books are supposed to come out. First up is First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston, and this one actually already came out, and it was also a book of the month pick, so you were able to get a copy a little bit early. But this is Ashley Elston's debut adult thriller, and I am just beyond excited to read this one. I really love all of Ashley's YA books, and I'm so excited for her to try out something different. I think that her thrillers are some of my favorite YA thrillers because they're just so well written, and I'm so excited to see how that's going to translate into an adult thriller. It also sounds really interesting. We are following a character who is not real. It seems like she has a fake identity and she's trying to preserve that fake identity, but in order to do so, she has to constantly make sure that she is at least a couple of steps ahead of everyone around her, and to make sure that the past does not catch up with her and that she still has a future. I don't really want to know anything else besides that, because Ashley's books have never let me down, and I have no doubt that this is probably going to be one of my favorites of the year. I believe it was also already optioned to be made into, I think, a Hulu miniseries, and I'm just so excited to see Ashley Elston getting a lot of attention, and I think it's like super well deserved. It's always great to see an author that you love like finally get into the limelight. The second book on my list is So Fetch: The Making of Mean Girls by Jennifer Kaishan Armstrong, and this is a nonfiction book, and it is just all about the behind the scenes and the making of the movie Mean Girls, the movie that came out, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but 20 years ago. It chronicles how the movie came about, how it defined a generation, how it basically started meme culture, and how it still holds up as one of the most defining movies of the early 2000s. It features exclusive interviews from the director, the cast, and the crew, and I've just so been enjoying these like nostalgic pop culture books. I read one recently all about the OC that I loved. I read one about Friends that I loved, and also just some of like the it girls of my day have been writing memoirs, so I've been enjoying those too, and I have no doubt that this is going to be one that I'm also going to really enjoy because Mean Girls mean so much to me. I love that movie like beyond words, and there were so many years of my life where like literally everything that someone said to me could be answered with a Mean Girls quote. I didn't do that because that would be really annoying, but it's so true. Like everything in that movie was just so relevant. And I also really loved seeing the Broadway play when they put that on. They made some changes there. And we also have a new Mean Girls movie coming out this month, which I'm not the most excited about, but I will see it just because I'm a huge Mean Girls fan, but I don't really have high hopes for that one. I'm really excited to revisit the original. And this one comes out on January 16th. Next on my list is one that I'm sure is going to be on many of these lists, and that is House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. This is the third book in the Crescent City series. It comes out on January 30th. I'm so excited for this one. I've actually been doing like a huge Sarah J. Maas reread, so I spent a lot of last year rereading all of Throne of Glass, and I am currently in the middle of rereading the ACOTAR series. I'm in the middle of A Court of Mist and Fury, and I'm going to be starting my reread of House of Earth and Blood next week after I finish reading The Naturals. So many reading plans in there, but I'm just so excited. I feel like I've been so like reminded of why I love Sarah J. Maas's writing, why I love her characters, why I love the worlds that she's created. I'm like in full-blown Sarah J. Maas mode, and I'm so excited for this finale. My plan is to read all three books back to back because I'm anticipating that it's going to take me a while to read House of Earth and Blood and House of Sky and Breath, and I just want to like be able to read House of Flame and Shadow at the same time that it comes out when everyone else is reading it. I think it'll be a lot of fun to just like be excited with the rest of the book community. I am just so excited. Number 4 on my list is In Education and Malice by S.T. Gibson. This one comes out on February 13th, and this is a companion to A Dowry in Blood, which was one of my favorite books from 2023. This follows a new set of characters. We are following academic rivals. It's a dark academia book, and it is also featuring a sapphic relationship. I'm honestly hoping that this book will be like everything that I was hoping A Study in Drowning would be, because that book to me was disappointing, and I love S.T. Gibson's writing, so I have like really high hopes for this one. I actually received an arc of it in the mail the other day. Really excited about. So once I finish my Sarah J. Maas stuff, this is definitely the book that I'm going to be delving into. I also love that it's coming out right before Valentine's Day, because who doesn't love dark love story for Valentine's Day? I'm also really hoping for some cameos from the characters in A Dowry in Blood. Then on March 5th, we are getting Finley, Donovan Rolls the Dice by El Cosimano. This is the 4th book in the Finley Donovan series. This is a cozy mystery series. It's so much fun. I really like these characters. I don't think that the 3rd installment was the strongest, but the 2nd one was like amazing, and I also really enjoyed the 1st. So I'm just excited to revisit these characters and to see them go on a new adventure. We also got a short story in, I want to say it was like November or December of last year, and I read that too. That was all about Vero. I just find their stories to be so much fun, and they're murder mysteries, but they are cozy. So like there's a lot of humor infused in them, and it's just a very solid series. Then on April 2nd, I cannot wait to read Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. Abby quickly became one of my favorite romance authors like ever when I read her entire backlist last year and just fell in love with everything. 2 of her books made my best books of the year list, and I'm so excited for more from her. I was actually like pretty sad that I finished everything because I just want to read more from her, and now I have to wait. But we did get great news that in addition to this book, she is also releasing a short story, part of like an Amazon short collection with a couple of other romance authors that I also really love, like Christina Lauren and Ashley Poston and Emily Henry. And I'm so excited to read that short story as well. But anyway, Just for the Summer follows 2 characters who both feel like they're cursed. Every time that someone breaks up with them, that person then goes on to meet like their forever person and get married and all of that kind of stuff, have their happily ever after. So in an effort to quote unquote break the curse, the 2 of them decide to date each other and then break up, hoping that their next relationship will be the relationship, but it seems pretty likely that they're meant for each other. Also on April 2nd, I'm really looking forward to the reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. This is Holly Jackson's next YA thriller. I love her A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, and I know I'm not alone in that. I actually haven't read 5 Survive just yet, but my brother and sister-in-law gave me a copy for Christmas, so I'm really looking forward to reading that too. But I'm especially excited for this one because it sounds so good. It's another true crime fueled murder mystery. We are following a girl who is determined to uncover the shocking truth about her missing mother, all while filming a documentary about it. Also, like, just this is not related to like the content of the book, but Waterstones has a really cool special edition of this one up for pre-order, and I totally grabbed one because I love Holly Jackson. And I'm just so excited to read this book, and I actually have a friend who read it already. She's very lucky, and she was telling me that it's just incredible. So I just can't wait. Next on my list is another thriller, and that's She's Not Sorry by Mary Kubica. This one also comes out on April 2nd, so that's gonna be a pretty big day for me release-wise. The one-sentence pitch for this one is that we are following an ICU nurse who accidentally uncovers the frightening past of one of her patients. This one is described as a chilling thriller, and I'm really excited for it. I really loved Mary Kubica's Local Woman Missing book. I haven't yet read her release from last year, but this one definitely sounds like more intriguing to me, so I'm going to pick this one up right away. And then also, I really like the color combination on the cover. Like, I think that this purple is so pretty, and I love that it's paired with the yellow. It's just like really pops, and it's kind of different than anything that you usually see on a thriller. It's usually like darker, and like while the purple is a little bit dark, it also has like a brightness to it. Then on April 23rd, we are getting Funny Story by Emily Henry, and I love all of Emily Henry's romance novels, so I'm really excited to read her next one. I think that this one one is going to be a lot of fun. I really love the premise of it. A little bit convoluted, but we are following a woman who her fiance breaks up with her because he realizes that he's still in love with his old flame. He like breaks up with her and then immediately gets engaged to his ex-girlfriend, and she becomes his new fiance, and she was also engaged at the time, so also broke off her engagement. The girl that we are following starts to date the ex-fiance of her ex-fiance's new fiance. It's a lot of fiancés going on there. It sounds like it's going to be kind of funny, and I always love Emily Henry's books, so I'm pretty excited. I was lucky enough to get an arc of this one digitally, but I'm trying to wait to read it a little bit closer to the release date because I don't want to read it and then have to wait a whole other year for her next book. But yeah, pretty sure that I'm going to love this one. Number 10 on my list is yet another thriller, and that is If Something Happens to Me by Alex Finley. This one's coming out on May 28th. And I have really loved Alex Finley's past books. I really loved Every Last Fear and The Night Shift. So I'm really excited for this one. I also really like the cover of it, but the premise of this one sounds so intriguing. So we are following a character who was in the car with his girlfriend at one point, and he got like hit over the head, pulled out of the car, and his girlfriend got kidnapped by these, I guess it's like two men, got rid of the boyfriend and whatever. So after that happened, the girlfriend's body and the car never surfaced. So despite people thinking that the boyfriend was involved in either murdering or abducting his girlfriend, there was never enough proof to convict him. So he has had to like change his name and try to avoid like all of the people online who think that he's guilty of this crime. Now, like 5 years later, is going to school. He's studying abroad, and he gets a phone call from his dad that his ex-girlfriend's car has just resurfaced. It was at the bottom of a lake in their hometown, and inside of the car were two men who are now dead and an envelope that is written in his ex-girlfriend's handwriting, and it says, "If something happens to me." So he has to come back and figure out what went on and try to confront like the past and all of the nightmares that he still has about like being torn out of that car. So it just sounds really good. I also almost called her his fiance so many times just because of Emily Henry's funny story. Next up is one of the more recent announcements, and a reason that I'm really glad that I didn't film this video early, because we just found out that Ashley Poston is coming out with another adult romance, and this one's called A Novel Love Story. This one's coming out on June 25th. We are following a professor of literature who teaches like very highbrow literature, but she is also part of a like super smutty book club with one of her best friends. And they go on this like annual vacation together where they just like read a bunch of romance novels. But at the last minute, her friend pulls out and she is stuck in the Hudson Valley by herself. There's always some kind of magical twist to Ashley's romances. And in this one, our main character actually gets transported into the world of the romance novels that she loves. I think it's called Quixotic Falls or something. So she's like in this small town in the Hudson Valley, and there's like a bad storm and she ends up in a bookstore. There's a grumpy bookshop owner, so that's probably who she's going to have romance with. I'm just excited. I feel like she always comes up with these premises that are so interesting, and I'm just like, I don't know if she can pull it off, and she always pulls it off. So I can't wait to see what she has next. And I also love the cover of this one, love the color combination. I feel like there's a lot of like indigo and violet colored books on my most anticipated list this year. And then number 12 on my list is Business Casual by B.K. Borison, and this one is also supposed to come out on June 25th. This is the final book in the Love Light series, and I'm so excited for this one, but I'm also like devastated that it's going to be the last book because I just love this small town so much, and all of the previous romances have been so good. The first one was my least favorite of all of them, and I feel like it just gets better and better with each book. So I'm really excited to follow the couple that is going to be in this book, and I'm also really excited to see any cameos from just the wacky townspeople, and then also like the couples that I love from the last books. In this one, we're going to be following Nova and Charlie, and I just think it's going to be just so good, like judging by the other ones. And again, I really like this cover too. And then just to mention a couple of runners up, I'm not going to go into the synopses of these ones, but these are ones that are definitely on my radar that I'm excited to check out, but they like just missed making my list. The first one is Bride by Allie Hazelwood. All I know about this one is that it is her first paranormal romance, and I believe we are following like werewolves, I think, which is not a favorite of mine. Don't love werewolves, but I love Allie Hazelwood, so I'm excited to see her do something a little bit different. And this one's coming out on February 6th. I'm also looking forward to The Teacher by Frida McFadden. I have not read any of Frida McFadden's thrillers just yet, though I did just pick up The Housemaid when I was at the Barnes & Noble hardcover sale in December, so I'm definitely going to be reading that soon. I know nothing at all about this thriller except for the fact that I love the cover. And this one is also coming out on February 6th. Next on my list is The Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black. This is the second book in the Stolen Heir duology. While the first book was not my favorite, it was definitely different than I was expecting. I did enjoy it. It took me a little bit longer to get into it than I thought, but I am really excited to see how this duology is going to wrap up. And this one comes out on March 5th. Next on my list is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. This one comes out on April 9th. This is another one where I don't know anything about it, but I would imagine it is a cowboy romance or like a horse-centric romance. I haven't read any of her other romance books just yet. However, she's probably the author that I'm most looking forward to reading for the first time in 2024. So while I'm not going to get to this book right away, I'm hopeful that I could catch up on her backlist before the end of the year and then potentially read this one like maybe November or something. But this one comes out on April 9th. I also have Happy Medium by Sarah Adler on my list. This one comes out April 30th, and I don't remember a single thing about this one from when I made my list, except for the fact that I do like the cover. I probably shouldn't even guess because I'm probably going to be wrong, but the cover is very cute, and I know that I read the synopsis and really liked it because it was hard to narrow down this list, and this almost made my most anticipated, but again, just fell short. Next up, I'm looking forward to Evocation by S.T. Gibson. This is one of those instances where an author that I love is coming out with 2 books in the first half of the year, so I am really looking forward to reading Evocation too. This one follows like magicians, and I also have an arc of this one. It is so foily and I love it. Like it's just gorgeous. Like I love when there's foiling on books, and for there to be foiling on an arc is like next level amazing. But I think it's like polyamorous magicians, and it's going to be a series. It's coming out from Angry Robot, and I'm really looking forward to this one too. I really love S.T. Gibson's writing. And then the final one on my list is Not in Love by Allie Hazelwood. So this is a second Allie Hazelwood book that's also on the honorable mentions. It would have been on my top 12 list if it weren't for Business Casual. This one comes out on June 11th, and it is something a little bit different. So I don't think that we're following a female scientist. I think that we're following somebody that works in like the food industry. So it'll be something a little bit different for her, and has a cute cover. I just think Allie Hazelwood is like, for me, a very reliable romance writer. I've enjoyed everything that I've written by her. They're all like very similar. She's very like formulaic, but it's a formula that works for me. So I'm really looking forward to it. And that's it. Those are the 12 most anticipated books of mine for 2024, and then some honorable mentions just sprinkled in there at the end. Let me know if there's anything that I mentioned that you're also looking forward to reading. And that's all that I have for this video. So I will see you guys soon in a new one. Bye!